Hairstyle, dreadlocks, facial hair, mustache, and beard. Witness saw something in his hand that could have been a firearm. Witness could not describe the rest of the faces. A sixth witness called Sipiwe could not compile any faces, but he mentioned that he saw an old green-blue sedan near the danger box. Two unknown African males were sitting in the car, and the other two were standing outside the car. After a few minutes, the car left, and only three unknown African males stayed behind, and they were busy on their phones. The witness later saw them running. In front was a person with dreadlocks running with a firearm in his hand. The other suspect jumps over the wall. Lieutenant Colonel Streicher and I left Foster's detectives to see Ms. Khumalo at her house. I interviewed Ms. Khumalo at the neighbor's house. She gave a similar description of suspect A. I showed her the compilation, and she said she saw a likeness in the face. She could not describe the other suspects. Now, my purpose for this exercise, really, is this. If you look at the people that were in the house, that is, those that gave the description of the persons that were involved in the commission of this offense, i.e. Kelly Khumalo, Zandile Khumalo, Dumelo Madala, Longe Twala, and Makhumalo. All of those people, according to the affidavit of Warrant Officer Steenkamp, they could not describe the second suspect. And we know that here in court, that second suspect was attributed to be accused number 2, Rongane Sandisontas. You see that? From what I've read, that the people that were in the house could not describe accused number 2, according to this affidavit.
My Lord, can I say in response to that, first of all, I did not dispose any affidavit, my Lord, in relation to this content.
Yes.
Yes.
Engizama ukuthi ngitshengise noma ngikuveze kuwena ke ngaloko engiqeda ukufunda ukuthi bonke labantu amagama abo ke esebiziwe aboKelly Khumalo, uZandile, uLongwe, uMakakheli ukuthi ke lo owesibili umuntu abazange bakwazike ukumchaza kuyena uWarrant Officer Steenkamp nanjengoba kuyena nje owayedweba siyazi ke ukuthi ngokubufakazi ke osebuthuliwe la enkantolo lo wesibili ke okhulunywa ngayo kuthiwa ke uyena uaccused number 2. Okokuqala ke uma ngiphendula angikusho ke lokho ukuthi mina ke angikaze nje ngithathe ke istatement mayelana ke nalokhu noma ngisibhale phansi.
And my Lord, I have never ever had an encounter with the person who disposed, my Lord, of this affidavit.
Futhi ke angikaze nje nakancane ngihlanganeke naye lo muntu lo ekuyena owabhala ke lesi statement esifungele.
So I'm not in position, my Lord, to comment on what you are putting to me.
Manje ke angikho kisimo ke sokuthi ke sengaphawula ke kuloko wena okushoyo kimina.
Sergeant Mohola, you are a police officer, and I'm not going to cast any aspersions to you. As part of the investigating team, you assume the investigation of the case. And in the case docket, it says the previous 40 people that were fired, people are fired. Fired is used in this court, people are fired. The 40 people that were fired, investigating officer prior to yourselves, according to the evidence of Makubu, have done preliminary investigations, and amongst those, it's the identity kit, other investigations that were conducted prior to your team assuming or being seized with this investigation. Now, as action with Warrant Officer Steenkamp, or you personally deposed to a supplementary affidavit pertaining to this document. I'm just reading you the contents to say, do you see in what is written in this document, ex facie, on the face of it, it says, all the people that were in the house, they did not describe any feature of the second suspect that entered the house. That's the gist of my answer.
We're sitting in the same problem that we had yesterday when Mr. Mgomezulu was cross-examining. We have these witnesses who have given viva voce evidence. They've expanded on their evidence. We submit that it's unfair now to go back after they've even identified accused number 2 in court, to go back and say, but there's this document that was compiled shortly after the incident, wherein the issues that Mr. Ramsepeli is referring to were traversed in Exhibit J. When they've given evidence, we submit that the proper way is to refer to that evidence to say, look, in totality, in addition, not only to this exhibit, but to the evidence, this is what they said. It's unfair to select just one portion of their evidence and to confront the witness with that. It's got to be based on the totality of the evidence, my lord.
Yes, Mr. Ramsepeli.
My lord, I don't know where the fairness is, because the witness can answer. If they can, they can. And I've got the records. And you know, sometimes the objections are premature. Because I was going to refer to the description, the dog identification that was done by both Tumelo and Ms. Kumalo Zandile of accused number 2. I've got the records, I've marked them for that purpose. So let me run my cross-examination now.
If she's capable of doing so,
Yes.
she gives a comment that she was not involved in this type of exercise. She never even communicated with Steenkamp. So what should she say,
She
according
could
to
simply
you?
have said, I can't comment. She shouldn't give me an answer that is parallel to the question.
Are you able to comment, ma'am?
No comment, my lord.
Simple.
Kulo bufakazi ke akukho engakusho ngoba kushushisi uthi ke akho ngendlela ukuthi ummeli manje ase uyabukhetha ke ubufakazi ngoba ke usengakuhlanganisa lokho akubuzayo ukuthi labantu yebo yiloko abakusho kodwa asho ukuthi kukhona ke nalaba ababili abefika ke enkantolo base bayamkhomba ke umsola wesibili athi ke ummeli cha bese bengizofika ke khona lapha kodwa ufakazi uthi cha akukho yena angakusho lokho.
And further, the other people that are mentioned here, if you can comment, a person called Sipiwe, mentioned by warrant officer Steenkamp, and a person called Makaleni. I can tell you as a fact that these are not the people that were in the house at the time of the commission of the offense. Would you agree with that? Sipiwe and T. Makaleni.
My lord, I can only comment on Makaleni because I was tasked to follow on him.
You were
Uma ukhuluma ke ngalabo abantu ababili ke uSiphiwe oMagaleni ukuthi ke babengekho endlini, mina umuntu engakhuluma ngaye ke ukuthi uMagaleni ngoba ke nganikezwa ke umsebenzi ukuthi ke ngimlandelele.
Okay. What can you comment about the Sipiwe Makaleni?
That Mr. Makaleni has passed on.
Ukuthi ke uSiphiwe Magaleni usewashona.
So it's issues of Section 3 of the Evidence Amendment Act. So I'll leave it that it's a point of law. I'll leave it
But
that.
has he made a
He has
affidavit?
He has made affidavits, my lord.
Okay.
Yes. And this Sipiwe person, you were not asked to follow up on him because they only mentioned Sipiwe. There's no surname or details given.
No, my lord.
Okay.
Kodwa kuSiphiwe yena ke angazi ngitshela lutho ukuthi kufanele kwenze mayelana naye.
Just to leave on this aspect of the warrant officer's facial recognition affidavit, and I'll put this to you. If it's speculative, don't answer it. She says at the time she had 22 years experience in the police and about 17 years as facial recognition, and that according to the affidavit, she compiles it according to the description that is given by the witnesses. Now, hear me out. If you can answer, you can. If you can't, you can't. If she says these 5 people that were in the house could not describe accused number 2, as a police officer, would you agree with me that she could not suck that information from the vacuum? It must have been given by those people that she says they couldn't describe accused number 2.
May you please repeat the question?
A warrant officer of 22 years, if he says Makumalo, Kelly Kumalo, Zandile Kumalo, Tumelo Madala, Longwe Twala, did not give me the description of accused number 2. She didn't suck that up from the air. She didn't make it up. Would you agree that's a fair comment to make?
That's correct.
Kuyiqiniso ke uma ukuthi ke warrant officer Steenkamp lona ke ubhalile noma uyasho ke lapha ukuthi labantu laba uKelly Khumalo, uZandile Khumalo, uMakhumalo, Longwe, uTumelo abakwazanga ke noma babe kwisimo sokuthi ke bamchaze umsola wesibili. Lokho kusho ukuthi ke into ayithola kubona akusiyona into ayicabangela.
Yeah, but for me, because Mr. Mgomezulu has put it that this is a cover-up. So you're saying, despite the fact that it has been put that the police, including yourself, were busy with a cover-up, you're still able to say, to give a comment fairly and not be subject to be giving a comment to cover up, as it is put by Mr. Mgomezulu.
My Lord, I'm just responding to this, my Lord, as an opinion. It's like he's making an example.
No, fine.
Because, as I said, I'm not the one who, I'm not the author of the statement.
Did you hear my comment about the fact that you are accused of a cover-up? Are you aware of it?
Yes, my Lord, it's actually the question that was put to me by Mr. Mgomezulu.
That's it. Now you're commenting on the investigation. Is it still under the cloak of you covering up? Just all I want to understand.
No, my Lord, there is no cover-up, my Lord, whereby, my Lord, I was involved in.
Okay.
Lo mbuzo ke oqeda ukuphendula manje ke ngiyabuzwa kumuphendula kodwa ke kunale nkulumo ke ekhishiwe noma ke ekhulunyiwe izolo yena ke uMr Mgomezulu ukuthi ke kwakunokuthi ke kwa cover up noma kwaku khona nje into eyaphekwayo eyahlanganye kwaloko bekushiwo uyena uadvocate uMgomezulu ukuthi ninake ningamaphoyisa nje likhona nje itulo noma into enaniphezulu kwayo cha mina ke akukho nje kwahlanganisa nokuthi ke kube khona nje into ephekayo noma ke itulo nje elihlanganiswayo.
Okay. Now, for contextual purposes and exactly what I said, I'll come to regarding that this. I think they'll show it here, the 8. Page 48 from line 15. It starts where, perhaps if I go to line 14, where Ms. Khumalo says, as I'm here in court, I saw the gentleman there. Yes, that's the line there, 14. And then just before the screen, it says, Mr. Baloyi, which one is it? From your left is accused 1 up to accused 5. And then Ms. Khumalo says, suspect number 2. And Mr. Baloyi says, yes, can you just, if you say suspect 2, what do you mean? Ms. Khumalo, Suspect 2 is the one that had the hoodie following the one with the dreadlocks. And Mr. Baloyi. Now, are there any specific features that enabled you to say that accused 2 is the second person who was in the house? We're going to page 49. Ms. Kumalo, on that day, as I explained, that I took a crutch and together with Tumelo tried to assault the person. I was with him and I looked at him very well. Mr. Baloyi, and how far were you from him, Ms. Kumalo? Our kitchen is very small. As you can see from the previous pictures there, that the stove is close to the sink is close to the door. So it's very close. Mr. Baloyi, are there any specific features that enable you to identify him? You have already placed the description on record, but you say you see him in court. Ms. Kumalo, his whole face, I remember well, his stature, his body, as well as his height when he was standing. Now, did you see accused number 2 before the incident? No, I did not. So those are the descriptions, and there's also a description that she gives with respect to what she added at the identity kit compilation with